Have you ever thought of the fact why most Minecraft players quit Redstone before they even start? Yep, you heard it. Redstone is one of the most, if not the most, complex mechanics in Minecraft. Even simple contraptions can look overwhelming, right? And lately, you have probably seen those insane redstone computers or processors built by genius players.
Wow!
Which can make you feel like redstone is only for the elite. I know exactly how that feels because I have been there too. You watch random clips, scroll past tutorials, try to piece things together, and suddenly you are drowning in confusion. But here's the truth, it's not you. The problem is learning without a proper framework. And by the end of this video, you will be mastering the foundations of redstone. So let's get right into it. Alright, it's simple to understand the redstone dust. So think of it like electrical wires for your builds. When you hook it up to a power source like a redstone torch or even a lever, it will light up with power just as a wire having electricity in real life, and send the power along the connected redstone dust wherever you want it to go. And one super important thing to remember is the power doesn't last the same on each redstone dust along a single line. So it starts out at the full strength 15, which is right beside the power source, like let's say a redstone torch or even a redstone block. And with every block it travels, it gets a little weaker. One by one, out of the strength 15, it reduces like 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, like that up to 1 and then 0. After 15 blocks, the signal just gets cut off completely. You can actually see that happen as the redstone dust gets darker and darker red the further away it gets from its source. Yeah, and after 15 blocks, it's just completely dark red. Another great indication of a redstone dust which is powered by this electricity is that you can see particles going out of the redstone dust as red particles, animations. But whenever that redstone dust is not powered at all, those particles won't go off and it will just look completely dark red. And even when the redstone dust is being having a lower strength from 15 to like around, let's say 5, and the strength is around 5, you can see that the redstone dust actually gives off those particles as like dark red particles. The intensity of the red color just gets reduced when the strength of the redstone dust is reduced in proportion. So that's something like to remember. But I know you won't be looking for the particles that is going on with redstone dust, but it is just another indication of having a lesser power. Now let's talk about the redstone torch, which is super special because it basically has two main functions. First of all, it's just its own power source that's always on and giving out the full strength of signal 15, and you just have to place it down and it will instantly just power anything right next to it. However, this second function is really the most interesting part when it comes to building redstone machines. It basically does the opposite of what you tell it to. It's like an opposite switch kind of thing, So see, when I place this block down and stick a redstone torch right on its side, so look, it's on, right? Now when you put a lever on that same block and turn on the lever powers the block and the torch just turns off. Flip the lever again to turn it off and just boom, the torch is back on. So if you are wondering like why any of this really matters, this is basically a game changer for redstone contraptions. The main idea here is that when you power up a block which has a redstone torch attached to it, which is turned on, that redstone torch just turns off basically. So this is actually how you make contraptions that are always on until you decide to flip a switch and just turn them off. Yeah. Alright, so repeater. Stop raining. I'm try to make a video. No, why? Oh my god. Ooh, now we are getting into the most important item in the Redstone Basics, which is the Redstone Repeater. And it is a little gadget that can be mainly useful for three super important roles, and starting with its first role, which it boosts the weakened redstone signal into full strength. Remember how the redstone signal dies out after 15 blocks? Well, if you place a repeater where the signal is getting weak, it will take that weak signal as its input and blast out as output a brand new full strength of 15 signal. And by this means you can send power as far as you wish to in whatever way you want. If you thought that is cool, check this second use of repeater, which is that it can add delay to a signal, and every time a signal passes through a repeater, it gets slowed down like just a little bit, which by default it has a delay of 1 redstone tick in game, which is equivalent to 0.1 seconds in our real life. And by default, 1 redstone tick in game means even when you don't click the redstone, the right click the redstone to add more delay, there's a default delay to this redstone signal when you put a redstone repeater in the way of your redstone signal. So if you want to extend the signal, there's gonna be a 0.1 second delay which you will have to sacrifice in order to extend your signal to way more distance you want. So the way to add more delay is you can right click the first torch in the redstone repeater up to 4 times to add more delay, up to 4 redstone ticks, which is absolutely perfect for timing things. And yep, this is exactly the secret to making cool piston doors where one side just opens just after the other, and trust me dude, without this 90% of the redstone builds will not be possible. So finally the uses of repeater comes to an end with its third and final use, which is it being a one-way street for power. So the signal can only go in the back and out from the front, and this is actually a lifesaver for keeping your circuits precise to the need and stopping power from going backwards and messing up your whole machine and just ruining everything that you did. The redstone comparator is basically the brain of your machine. It can measure, compare what's the strongest signal it's receiving into its inputs, and even subtract its input signal. And you can right click it to switch between its two modes, which are comparison mode and subtraction mode. In the measuring mode, its most common use is to check how full a container is. If you put a comparator next to a chest, it will send out a signal depending on how many items are inside. An empty chest means obviously 0 signal strength, right? But a full chest is a full strength of 50 as the output. This is how you make awesome auto sorters, or even a light that turns on when your chest is full. It also works with furnaces, hoppers, and even a cake. And let me tell you what, even I wonder for God's sake, how does a cake send a redstone signal? Oh my god. But yeah, that's just up for Mojang to decide, I guess. But that's not a problem, right? Comparators can also read like block states, like how full a cauldron, a composter, or a jukebox is. Like just not only chess. Also, its main use for redstone contraptions is to compare signals. In its normal mode, it looks at the signal coming into its back and compares it to signal coming from its sides. If the back signal is stronger than the side signals, it lets the signal pass through. But if the side signals are stronger or the same as the back signal, it just stops the signal right there because the output signal is negative in terms of math, as we know that output equals to side signal subtracted from the back signal, or simply just output equals to back signal minus the side signal. But Minecraft can't obviously give a negative signal, so the output will be 0. So basically it's just output equals to back signal when the back signal is stronger, and output equals to 0 when the side signal is equal or greater than the bad signal. If you right click it, it goes into subtract mode. It's pretty simple, right? It takes the signal strength from the back and subtract the strength from the side. So if you have a signal of 10 coming from the back and a 4 on the side, a signal of 10 minus 4, which is 6, will come out as the output signal from the front. So that's really the simplest way that someone can explain this subtracting mode of this comparator. Yeah, so you can even use this to build like really smart things. Let's just say like combination locks, which are like really useful to secure your items like diamonds, emeralds, or netherite blocks, like stuff like that. So that's basically the foundational background about comparators that you should know as a beginner. Yeah, so that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you have watched until the end of this video, I really do appreciate it. And there will be a next short comment about the redstone block, and I'll be explaining it a little bit further. And until then, I'll see you in the next one.